Now the sport where rubber meets asphalt.
Today the Tour de France takes a hard-earned rest. We review the highlights of the race so far. We talk to the defending champion, Miguel Indurain, and to the riders themselves who answer your most popular questions. We look too at the blood, sweat and tears of the tours gone by. And Gary Imlach discovers what attracts people from all walks of life to work on the Tour. Hello and welcome to the beautiful old town of Dole in the Jura. It's here where the 172 survivors of this year's Tour de France are now taking a well-earned rest. You know, this is the nicest day we've had, but the Tour weather this year has not been good, and it's added to the cruelty of this year's event. This Tour de France, after 12 days of racing, is still on course to be the fastest race in its history. Starting in Spain for the first time, Miguel Indurain rode the Prologue time trial in yellow as the Tour's defending champion. By the end, he was the first claimant of the 1992 version. Then in the range of northern Spain, where the race stayed the next day, Alex Zülle, a surprise second in the Prologue, assured himself of a very special 24th birthday present when he won a 6 seconds time bonus sprint. By the end of the day, the Swiss had the yellow jersey and his team celebrated with him. The Tour moved into France amid rumour next day of blocked roads. Instead, the race proved unstoppable for the French, as Richard Virenque took second place after a breakaway that lasted throughout the day on the edge of the Pyrenees. In Pau, he was the next surprise leader. On to Bordeaux, and the French RMO team played another ace when they put Pascal Lino in a leading group of 10. The field watched Virenque, and instead it was his friend Lino who arrived in Bordeaux to take the yellow jersey. A long transfer from Bordeaux and the race reassembled north of Paris. Next stop, Vascal. Here the Italian Guido Bontempi won his 5th stage in the Tour de France, and at the end of one of the fastest stages in Tour history as well. Last Friday the race began its mini Tour of Europe and entered Belgium in heavy rain. The result? A massed pile-up on the cobblestones and 6 riders going to hospital. It was also the day when Claudio Chiappucci and Greg LeMond buried the hatchet, combining their forces to win 90 seconds by the time they reached Brussels. Next day, onward to Holland, and the biggest crowds yet, as police estimated 1.3 million spectators. Stephen Roach gave a virtuoso display as he danced over the hills of Limburg, only to be beaten by the Frenchman Gilles de Lyon at the finish. Sunday took us into Koblenz and into Germany as well. The rain again caused the race to suffer. A breakaway gained more than 4 minutes before the Belgian Jan Nevens surprised them and raced clear for Belgium's first stage win this year. On Monday, the race centred on Luxembourg, where Miguel Indurain, unheard of since his opening win in Spain, returned to the stage. He cruised to a 3-minute win as he caught Laurent Fignon for 6 minutes. Indurain was now only 87 seconds behind Pascal Lino and up into 2nd place. And that's the way it is on this rest day. Stephen Roach, the Irishman, is in 3rd place, 4 minutes 15 seconds down. Greg LeMond is 4th and Gianni Bugno is in 5th. Of the others, Claudio Chiappucci is still well there in 6th place. Laurent Fignon, after that victory in Mulhouse, is in 10th slot. Eric Breukink, disappointing in his 15th place. Andy Hampton, 21. And Robert Miller of Scotland, riding a very steady race indeed, in 25th position overall. Well, the first news today is that Alex Zülle, the rider who won the yellow jersey on his 24th birthday, has been withdrawn last night by his Spanish Once team. He's a new professional. They say he's done enough, and such a great talent, they want to save him for the future. And it might be a wise decision. 2 riders with no thoughts of giving up this Tour de France, at least till we cross the line on the Champs-Élysées, are Miguel Indurain and Pascal Lino. And this morning, Gary Imlach and Paul Sherwin were outside of both of their hotels. Here's Gary first.
Well, Phil, in the time-honoured tradition, I can confirm that the condemned man ate a hearty breakfast this rest day morning before going to face his executioners in the mountains tomorrow. Because Pascal Lino knows that his days in the yellow jersey are numbered, and that number is certainly no higher than 3 and could possibly be as low as 1. not that he seems particularly bothered. Earlier on today, he had time to do a spot of fake windsurfing for the French press photographers. Well, the RMO team mechanics are changing all the gearing on the bikes now in preparation for tomorrow's mountain stage. But I think Pascal's going to need a bit of wind assistance if he wants to hold on to his yellow jersey. The man most likely to take it from him is Miguel Indurain, and Paul's across town at his hotel.
This is the hotel where Miguel Indurain and the Banesto team will be spending the rest day. He may not have the yellow jersey yet, but he's being treated here as if he's already won the race. Today's a special day for him. It's his 28th birthday, and just how's he going to spend it? Well, he'll go out training this morning for 3.5 hours, come back for lunch. After lunch, he has to have a press conference, followed by a siesta, and then a massage. After the massage, he's back down for eating again, and then up to bed. He's got to try and recuperate as much as possible before the next 3 days in the mountains, but I asked him if he thought his team would be up to the job of trying to help him reconquer the yellow jersey.
I don't know. As you saw in the team time trial, it's a very good team. Not the best, but not bad. We've got riders who are great in the mountains, Delgado or Bernard, and they can do a better job than the other teams.
Do you have some kind of special psychology that you try and use against the other racers? Or are you trying to wage some kind of psychological warfare against them to crack them before we actually get to the mountains?
No, not really. Because they know I have the trump card, the time trial. They are all nervous in the way they race because of this. They know this is my strength and that I am the best in the time trial. There I can take back any time I lose. They know the time trial is my strong point, and I can always remake a big difference. I can overcome any time I lose, and the pressure is on them.
Underneath the calm exterior that you project, is there really a volcano waiting to explode into action?
Yes. Underneath, I've got what we call in Spain bad milk, but it only comes out during the really hard races. I do try and stay calm, but this bad milk does come out. I think it is this that gets me through the really hard races, the Tour de France and the Tour of Italy.
Well, Miguel Indurain is going to need all of the strength he can muster over the next 3 days if he's going to take that leader's yellow jersey away from Pascal Lino. I think the crunch will come on Sunday on the viciously cruel stage, which finishes on top of Alpe d'Huez. While you look at this profile, let me remind you of our competition. We would like you to try and name the winner of the stage here. As some help, Gianni Bugno has won there the last 2 years, and another rider in the race who's also won is Gert-Jan Teunissen of Holland. The lucky winner, drawn out of the hat of all those who successfully predict the winner of the stage, will receive the race leader's yellow jersey, signed by the stage winner and by the overall leader of the Tour de France. Entries can be made this week by telephone, and this is the number 0891 500 112. Or you can enter on the postcard, please, but it must reach us by first post on Saturday morning to Fortel, Tour de France Competition, 142, Lower Marsh, London, SE1 7AE, and the very best of luck. Now, we've had lots of questions from you over this last 12 days of the Tour de France, and we've tried our best to answer 1 or 2 of them during our programmes. But we thought we'd take a selection of the most popular questions and ask the riders themselves, and here's what Paul and Gary found out.
When you wear a yellow jersey, do you have to give it back?
No.
So what do you do with them?
Normally, the first one you always keep it. And after that, then normally you'll have your teammates, so normally if you get more than one, well, you try and give one to your best teammate or the guy who's helped you most during the tour or whatever. Or first of all, normally the second one probably goes to your sponsor first of all. And then after that, then you kind of, if you get a third one or a fourth one or a fifth one, then it goes down the team and as regards to who has helped you the most or whatever.
Who washes the riders' clothes during the Tour de France?
During the Tour de France, the masseurs wash our clothes. We have a washing machine in the truck, and they do that for us, which is great help.
How do you go to the toilet on a bicycle?
I just put my pants down, you know, and then if I have to take shit, I wait to the hotel. Otherwise, I do it just on the side of the road.
Do all the motorbikes and cars in the Tour de France cause a problem for you when you're racing?
Yeah, quite often when the motorbikes come past, a lot of times when we're grouped up, they really do cause a problem. They cause a lot of accidents, and the cars, I think they're the most important thing on the road, and I think they got to think that the bike ride is the most important thing around here.
Another question we keep getting asked is, why do you shave your legs?
Because everyone else does.
Why the ladies shave their legs?
Because we like it, you know, it looks great. Martin, why do cyclists shave their legs?
Well, there are a few reasons, but the main one is to keep your legs clean if you have an accident. Because if you fall and you pick up a lot of grit on a sort of an open graze, if you've got hairs on your legs, the dirt will stick to it, and you know, the risk is higher of having an infection.
And what do you do with the bicycles that you get in the Tour? Do you keep them to the end of the Tour, or do you have to give them back?
No, we just keep them. We just keep them if they don't break.
What's the best part of the day?
I think the best part of the day is when you get to the finish in the evening time in the hotel when you have your show and you can lie in bed and then go for your massage. That's the best part of the day.
How much do you eat when you're on the bike, and what do you eat?
I had about, I think I got about 10 pieces with me this morning, and we've probably got 2 feeds along the way. Now I've got, in this sandwich, this is a pudding sandwich, you know. Looks pretty nice. Love it. I always get 2 specials. I always have 2 cheese and tomato sandwiches at the start. The other guys don't get that.
Well, I hope that's cleared up some of your more popular questions. Do keep ringing us up, because we do like reading through. We can't promise to answer all of them, but we certainly will answer some on our programmes. This is the number, 071 631 4444. Now, I hope the Tour de France has fired you all up, because cycling will continue on Channel 4 during August. The Kellogg's Tour of Britain will attract many of the riders in the Tour de France. Here's a look at the route. It starts on the 10th of August in Dundee. It goes down the east coast and as far south as Coventry before returning up to Leeds, where it will finish on the 14th of August. Then more of the top riders will come into Britain to join those in the Kellogg's Tour, because they'll then take part in the Wincanton Classic, which is a round of the World Cup. Olaf Ludwig will be defending his lead in that. Well, the Tour de France is on its rest day, and we'll take a break. Welcome back to our special programme as the Tour de France takes its rest day. You know, over the 79 tours, there haven't really been enough words to describe this great sporting spectacle. The Tour de France brings out of every rider just about every emotion, as these pictures from more recent tours will testify.
For Greg LeMond of the United States. No American has ever won a stage in the mountains before in the Tour de France. But now the yards tick away as well as the seconds. 250 to go, and Greg LeMond is going to throw his arms in the air at the end of one of the most amazing days in the Tour de France. Greg LeMond will take the finish line here in front of an enormous crowd who know just what this young American has gone through to become the first American ever to win a stage in the mountains of the Tour de France, and I think begins to lay the foundation of taking over the leader's yellow jersey in the days ahead. LeMond punches the sky. 6 hours, 6 minutes and 37 seconds has made history for the American.
You're seeing here now a man of extreme courage. Kelly's collarbone is fractured, and yet he's trying to ride on. This is a dreadful day in the Tour de France. It's happened before he's even got to the mountains. A simple crash has taken out one of the great favourites in the Tour de France, and suddenly it all comes home to Sean Kelly.
Run.
You're right, Sean. You're right, boy.
look at the time there, almost 7 hours, and Tellier has spent the best part of 5 of them in the lead alone. They are the great adventures of the Tour de France and the spirit of the race for all to see. Go out and see what you can do, and the answer today is Jean Tellier. You can win a stage of the Tour de France. The first time he'd ever done that. Straight disgraces, up go the arms. Jean Tellier takes the flag today. As they line up for the finish now, the Panasonic, Bucklers and Carreras look like fighting out the finish here now. And as they start now, Jan Shaw on the right, on the far left of our picture is Abdou Japarov. See how much room they give him, because once his elbows start working, Olaf Ludwig takes him on nicely. Oh, and he's gone! Abdou Japarov has gone and taken out. Shaw has gone down with him as well, as the stage has been won there by, I think it was Dmitry Konishev, who crossed the line in first place. And you know, I'll have to wait and see what happened there, but it looked to me as though Abdou Japarov caused the crash himself and went down by himself, Paul. He actually touched one of the barriers at the side of the road, I think, there. He was trying to come up the inside, and he just couldn't control it, and he went down. But let's not forget, he still got across the line. Well, there you can now see the face and the blood of Jamaluddin Abdou Japarov. Quite clearly stunned. It was a very nasty fall indeed.
A reminder there of what makes the Tour such a great attraction. And from speaking to people over the past week or so, I think European industry must be at a virtual standstill, because half the population seems to have taken 3 weeks off to follow the race. To get really close, though, taking a holiday isn't enough. You need to take a holiday job.
Take Robert Lalonde, for example, a former professional cyclist himself. He now manages the Eddie Merckx bike factory in Belgium, employing 35 people. On the Tour, though, he's happy to be reduced to the role of chauffeur, driving the lead car of race director Jean-Marie Leblanc. Willy Beaumont is chief steward for Swiss Airlines. And on the Tour, he cooks up the carbohydrates for the Motorola team. My personal favourite and hero of the publicity caravan is Bernard Bouillard, Parks and Gardens worker 49 weeks of the year, profiterole driver for the other 3.
The idea of it amuses me. When someone first suggested that I go around the Tour de France in a go-kart, it just appealed to me, and I've carried on because I enjoy it. When they hear that, they laugh. They laugh at the idea of doing 3,900 kilometers and going up the Champs-Élysées in a go-kart. It's incredible.
The most high-profile of all the Tourist de France, though, the Coke and Credit Lyonnais girls, who have an arrangement with the world's press to take their holiday pictures for them. And they're an international lot, too. Kathy Garbe lives in Mexico. Valerie Boffet, on her second tour, took holiday from her job in Hong Kong, where she works at a big hotel.
What makes it worth giving up your holidays to do this race?
Well, that's 2 things. First, the excitement of being here and then working for the Credit Lyonnais as a hostess. And second, coming back to France, which is nice whenever you live in another country, especially Asia, where everything is different, values and people, and so you need sometimes to get back to France and get a little bit resources. So I get everything in 1 month, and it's worth.
Now, we see you every day smiling on the podium. Is it really a pleasant job having to kiss a man who's just ridden all these miles? It must be sweating and smelly and horrible.
No, well, you don't do it just to kiss the guy. I mean, actually, you do it because you share his feelings. Whenever he goes on the podium, then you're happy for him.
Do any of the riders want to share their feelings with you after the race?
No, I don't think so.
I tell you what, anyone prepared to stand with their nose in close proximity to a rider's armpit every day for 3 weeks is earning her money. Right, now on from temporary workers to a fixture of the Tour and a man who's a bit of an institution in his own right. See if you recognise this character being honoured before last week's stage from Pau to Bordeaux. Yes, it's Monsieur Liggett picking up his medal for 20 years consecutive service to the Tour, something no other British journalist has ever achieved. Now, we don't want to get too self-indulgent on the show, but since this is a unique occasion, we've put together a small package of Phil's greatest hits, misses, and changing hairstyles.
Kelly waits, he watches. Anderson's on his wheel, round again. Valley leads Kelly, followed by Anderson. What a finish! Kelly's going to go now, there's the line. Kelly, Anderson also trying. Kelly on the right, Valley on the left, Anderson also trying. Kelly, come on, Sean, for the last time. Kelly's won the last stage of the Tour de France. What a great result
Well, after that, I'm not too sure who's out of breath most, me or Sean Kelly.
Miller can prepare himself now for the salute. The two arms are all we want to see now, and there they are. Miller's won the stage in the Tour de France. The tears, the grimaces become smiles and tears of joy.
Well, this really has been a marvellous tour so far, especially for the English-speaking riders in the event.
No doubt, of course, in anybody's mind, not only going to victory now, but this is a Tour de France victory salute. And it's come 3 days before the end of the tour. Fignon now can ride the rest of the stages as laps of honour.
Absolutely, John, and really for the first time, Greg LeMond, having finished third last year, is now ready to win the Tour de France and add a little bit more history to this great sporting event. You know, every day in the Tour de France is another long day. Everybody gets up early.
Pedro Delgado has flipped Stephen Roche on the climb. But remember, at one point he had a minute and a half. And just who is that rider coming up behind? Because that looks like Roche. That looks like Stephen Roche. It's Stephen Roche who's come over the line. He almost caught Pedro Delgado. I don't believe it.
Well, the Tour de France goes on today without Martin Early after yesterday's accident. Sean Kelly too, we don't know till we get to the start whether in fact he will begin. We'll find all this out as the day goes on.
Laurent Fignon has lost the Tour de France right on the line as he comes over. 55 seconds is countdown. He has lost the Tour de France by 8 seconds. Can you believe that? Laurent Fignon has lost the Tour and Greg LeMond has won it.
On the 118.5 kilometres, 10th stage from Geneva to Saint-Gervais, where the stage ended near Mont Blanc, Ronan Pensek, who'd ridden in Steve Bowers' shadow for over a week, couldn't afford the helicopter, which is shortly to fly overhead. What are you putting your hand up there for?
Just to try and block some of the noise.
Block the noise out? Christ, he's blowing us off the floor here.
I'm not seeing anything. What's wrong with the man I didn't race against? Right, Paul, what says in one man I didn't race against? As Phil says, I suppose you raced against me, everybody else did. Okay, Frank, all the best, mate. Cheerio, John, Jim. What? I have to get him trespasses. That'll do.
Great stuff, and here's the man himself. Phil, 20 years worth of memories. Any particular ones that stand out?
I think two do, Gary, above all of the rest. The first was in 1975, the first year the Tour de France finished on the Champs-Élysées. There was a French winner, but the man who'd lost the race got as much publicity, Eddie Merckx. He'd won the Tour 5 times already. Everybody expected him to win it for a 6th. Instead, he crashed and he fractured a bone in his face. And the race doctor said he should leave the Tour. And he said, if I leave this Tour de France, then the man who's beaten me for the first time will not look as great as he really is. From that moment on, I think Eddie Merckx became the most popular rider in the sport. The other one, of course, the Champs-Élysées in 1989, the joy of Greg LeMond, the sadness of Laurent Fignon. Fignon had lost that Tour de France by 8 seconds. Those two memories will always stay with me. But now let's have a look at this Tour de France, which is developing now to be equally as exciting. This is the overall classification. Pascal Lino leading by 1 minute 27 seconds ahead of Miguel Indurain. Stephen Roche nursing a bad back. In the true spirit of the Tour de France, he continues and he is in 3rd slot. Greg LeMond to me looks fragile and may drop away in the Alps. Gianni Bugno I expect to climb up the overall classification. In the other competitions, the King of the Mountains leading now the defending champion, Claudio Chiappucci, ahead of Richard Virenque, who led for a long time. Franco Chioccioli is in 3rd place. And in the points competition, this has been a great competition this year. Laurent Jalabert has wrested the lead just before the rest day here. He's now ahead by 9 points of Johan Museu, and Olaf Ludwig, the World Cup leader, is in 3rd place. Just a reminder of the phone number for our competition this Sunday. Remember, we want you to name the winner of the stage to Alpe d'Huez. The phone number is 0891 500 112. The best of luck. Well, that's the situation in the classifications on this rest day of the Tour de France. The only news we've got to tell you is, as we said earlier, Alex Zuller withdrawn last night by his team. He will not be continuing in the Tour de France. He's too young. But the other 171 riders will be. And tomorrow they are on the road, heading towards the mountains with the climb of the Mont Salève as we go towards Saint-Gervais, Mont Blanc, and then over the hill, the Alps. We'll leave you now with a view of what's to come. And go, goodbye.